Hi, friends. I'm Hayley Chow, founder of History Undressed, and today we have the phenomenal Daniel Orlandi with us. Daniel is an Emmy winning and BAFTA, Critics' Choice, Satellite, and CDG nominated Hollywood costume designer, best known for his work on The Da Vinci Code, The Blind Side, Saving Mr. Banks, Jurassic World, Ford v Ferrari, Cinderella Man, amongst many others. Actors he dressed span from Tom Hanks, Chris Pratt, Sandra Bullock, Matt Damon, Katrina Balfe, Christian Bale, Renee Zellweger, and many others. We are so beyond honored to have Daniel with us today. Welcome, Daniel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so great. Thank you so much for being here. It is such a phenomenal honor, and I'm just so happy that you're here with us at History Undressed.
Cool.
So you're obviously an extremely talented and have an impressive body of work, as I just listed off everything that you have accomplished, and that's only just the part of it. And I'm looking forward to diving deeper into your filmography, but also getting to know you as a person in general. As we often love to do here, we like to travel back in time. So I thought we'd hop into the time machine and start from the beginning. So what were your roots like growing up in New Jersey?
I grew up in New Jersey, uh, sort of north and over the bridge, the George Washington Bridge. So growing up, my parents, we would go into Manhattan all the time. And then when I was about 12, I figured out that I could take the bus into Manhattan and see a Broadway matinee. And it
Mhm.
was kind of cheap back then when I was a kid, cheaper than a movie. To sit in the rear balcony. So I love the theater. I always wanted to be a designer of
Mhm.
film and theater.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, from an early age, my parents always took me to the movies because it was cheaper than a babysitter. So I'll watch a movie now as an adult and say, "Oh my God, that's what that movie was about. I had no idea."
I love that. Yeah, we always do tend to see like looking at from an adult's perspective is always very interesting what we were attracted to when we were younger.
Yeah.
Well, I love so it sounds like your parents were always very supportive of you as a creative. Is that right?
Yeah, when I told them I wanted to be a set designer for the theater, they were like, What is that? Is that a
Mhm.
career?" But they were very supportive, and
Yeah.
they let me go to Carnegie Mellon to
Hmm.
study theater design,
Right.
where I met my very best friends still to this day.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it was like, when you're in high school, you're in grammar school, uh, you, but when you go to college and start studying something and everybody that's studying it with you loves the same things, and it's like finding your people.
Right.
Uh, and they became my best friends forever.
That's so
Um,
wonderful. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's
they're like
such
my
a
family.
rarity these days as well. Yeah, but of course you did go to a specific school where everyone does have
Yeah,
the same options. So,
yeah, and it was small. Our department was small.
okay.
Um,
Okay.
in
Well,
a
that's
big school,
amazing.
we had a small department.
Very, very cool. And it was theater that you like
Theater
theater.
design.
Right.
It was the drama department of Carnegie Mellon, and we were a group of designers, and we were a very small group of undergraduates. The graduate program was larger, but
Okay.
we were a very small group.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Did you feel like your time at Carnegie Mellon was it very effective? Did you feel like you more so learned afterwards once you started being in the industry?
well, I learned a lot at Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah.
You know, a lot.
Hmm.
Uh, we had great teachers, but also great classmates, and we loved the same things, and we studied. And I always tell young people, get whatever education you can get because it just helps you talk to directors, talk to actors, talk to producers. We learned all about the history of costume, the history of decor, the history
Yeah.
of architecture, the history of drama. We read plays, and they made us do all different kinds of things. We, had directing classes, and we had lighting design classes and set design classes and uh, modern dramatic literature. where, we read so many plays. But of course, growing up, I read every play I could.
Yeah.
Uh, I only thought I would work in the theater.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how life kind of just, throws you what it just gets you. And now it's amazing that just the accolades that you have gotten to. What do you feel? So right after Carnegie Mellon, I believe was it right after then that you were a truck driver?
Yeah, well, no, one summer,
Uh-huh.
it's a funny story. My first
Yeah.
job in show business, I thought I was going to design sets for this uh, summer stock company, but
Uh-huh.
at the last minute, they didn't open. So I had no job, and a friend of mine was working at a costume house in Manhattan. He said, "Well, let me see, come in and talk to them. They might have a job." And they said the only job that they had, that they needed a truck driver.
Hmm.
And they said, "Do you know how to drive a truck?" And I lied and said, "Oh, yeah, of course."
Yeah.
And my dad and I learned how to drive a truck the weekend before I started.
Oh my
He
goodness.
borrowed a truck and we figured it out. And I was a truck driver in Manhattan, right off Times Square.
Oh my
That was
goodness.
my first job in show business. And I kind of loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it was hard work, but I met some costume designers.
Mhm.
I Yeah, it was really fun. I didn't kill anybody. I might have gone over a lot of curbs. I might have knocked over a mailbox or two, but that was my summer.
Well, first of all, congratulations. I'm very glad that you're still here to tell the tale of being the truck driver in
Not in
Manhattan.
prison
Yeah.
for killing someone.
Did it feel like a big kind of networking opportunity?
Yeah, I met designers, but it was costume designers. I was mainly a set designer, but it
Mhm.
was really interesting. I drove a British costume designer out to their warehouse, and I
Mhm.
would load. He would be pulling clothes, and I'd load the racks on the truck and drive back. But we'd stop for lunch, and told me the most amazing stories about working in film, uh, and I carry those with me to this day.
Mhm.
And he was just so kind. And then he said, "Oh, I'm doing a fitting. Do you want to help me in the fitting? I'll make sure in the front office that I want you." So he said, "Just be quiet, hang up the clothes." And he was doing a fitting, and in walks the actor, Paul Newman.
Oh my
I'd
goodness.
never met a movie star or a theater actor
Yeah.
except for standing outside, the stage door, watching, the stars of those shows come out.
Wow. Wow.
Couldn't
That
have
is
been nicer. So
that's
it was like,
phenomenal.
oh, wow, I love this.
And at this time, how old were you?
Oh,
This was right out of
18?
college. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, this was during college.
Oh, this was during
That's my
college.
summer job. My
Okay.
first, yeah. Then
Yeah.
after college, I worked at that costume house. I worked at other costume house. I was designing off Broadway shows and had a day job to pay for the jobs. And then two friends from college, we all started working for public television as in the art department.
Very
And we
cool.
did these very low budget little mini series around the country. Matter of fact, we were in Dallas.
Oh, very
Um,
cool.
yeah. Yeah, we did a one. I think we were there for like 4 or 5 months in
Uh-huh.
Dallas doing a mini series called The Lathe of Heaven.
Okay.
And it was just five of us doing props, sets,
Hmm.
set decoration, and it was super fun.
Well, how fun. How was your time at Dallas? I'm sure
I
back then it was still a lot of horses and still a lot of land.
No, we were right in Dallas because it was futuristic. So we shot at
Oh,
the new city hall that had just been built.
okay, yeah.
And we shot at one of the hotels with the big thing at the top and
Okay.
the water gardens.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well,
so
how
it was, yeah, and it was very, very low budget, but really
fun.
fun.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. That's something I did not know. Um,
Yeah.
During this time, do you feel like you ever had your eye on the prize about a certain thing? Did you have goals of where you wanted to be? Did you always know that you wanted to be like in Hollywood itself or stay in Manhattan?
No, the same two friends, we then did two more shows
Okay.
and for public television, and my two friends, we were having lunch or something, and they said, all of our friends that moved to Los Angeles are making so much more money than us, and they're all working. So the three of us drove across the country,
Mhm.
stayed in my college roommate's apartment, slept on the floor, found an apartment. At the time, it's very funny, at the time in, the early 80s, our landlord let us move into an apartment with half a month's rent and nothing else. I don't think that would ever happen today. And I stayed there. They stayed for 4 years and then moved. They bought a house, and I just stayed in the apartment.
Mhm.
Um, so we moved to Los Angeles.
Mhm.
I was a set designer. They were set designers. I, through some fluke, a friend of ours from college, that's why you should always remain
Yes.
friends with your friends from college,
Mhm.
called me and said, "Do you want to come to this costume house and do a special little project for a couple days? We're desperate. We're doing a Las Vegas show and we need a crafts person, an extra craftsperson." So I said, "Well, all right, fine." I could walk there from our apartment. So I
Mhm.
walked over and I linked little pieces of plastic together to make G strings for a Vegas show. And I finished it the second day early, and then they gave me hats to work on. And they said, "Oh, will you stay?" And I'm like, well, I have no better job. So, yes, fine. And then the head of the shop said, "Oh, I need for you to come upstairs and organize all this stuff. The designer stuff is a big mess, and he's out of town, and it's a mess. And I had, the shopper do it, and he's made it worse. So go up there." So I went upstairs to this area, and I labeled everything, and I put all these swatches and I labeled everything, and I put it all together, and then went back to, working on hats. And a couple days later, the designer came in and said, "Hey, are you the guy who organized all my stuff?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I'm looking for a new assistant."
My goodness. Wow.
And it was this designer, Bob Mackey.
Yeah. Yes. It was just a very casual Bob Mackie.
Yes. And it was like, and he hired me, got me in the union, and I was his assistant on this huge movie called Pennies from Heaven, um, where he was nominated for an Oscar. And I worked for him for about 8.5 years. On everything that he did. He started a fashion line. I worked on that. I wasn't that interested in fashion. I had spent a couple of months in New York working for a fashion designer. Um, so we were spending then a lot of time in New York. And then my two friends that I moved to Los Angeles with came over one Sunday and said, "Okay, it's time for you now to go out on your own." And they got me my first costume design job.
And which one was that?
It was designing costumes for a David Copperfield
For
special,
David Copperfield. Yes, I did
and
read.
I won an Emmy
Yes,
for
that's
my
what I'm
first
for.
show. It was I wasn't even going to go because I
Okay.
thought, well, there's no chance that I'm going to win, but and I
Wow.
won. I was very surprised, as
I feel
were
like
were my friends.
we have to break down so many things of what you just said, how to do it in sections.
Right.
So I did know, yes, I did know that Bob Mackie was essentially, would you describe it as your first big break, or how do you describe that when you
It
look
was
back?
a great break. I learned so much from
Mhm.
he and his partner Ray Aguian.
Right.
He was actually the first costume designer whose name I knew because he had designed this movie called The Art of Love with Dick Van Dyke.
Yes.
And I saw it about 5 times and thought that the costumes were
Yeah.
so fantastic.
I'm a big Ray Aguian fan as well, and I think that's phenomenal that you worked so closely with him because Doris Day was my first kind of introduction into old Hollywood. I watched every single one of her films,
Yeah.
and for me, I don't know if you feel this way, but like to me, I feel like to today's audience, I feel like his name isn't very well known.
Who, Ray Aguian? Yeah, no, it's not. There are people that love costumes, love
Yeah,
him. And he and Bob Mackie then were partners and designed things together.
right.
And even when Bob's name was on the project, Ray had a lot to do with the
Yeah,
design.
I
Because
I'm gonna tell you. Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
he was technically amazing. He knew how to
He,
construct
his
clothes.
work is beautiful and underrated for today. For the audience of today, I feel like it's underrated. His name needs to be more put out there. I will tell you this story. I don't know if I, whether or not I'm going to cut it out of this interview, but
Okay.
because I do post a lot about Doris Day, and multiple
Uh,
times over the course of 6 or 7 years, I've posted about the iconic Doris Day gown, the orange gown with the
oh yeah.
lining, and a certain project run, and I always credited Ray. A certain Project One runway judge came into my comments and was like, "This is a Norman Norell," blah 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 blah, and then he unfollowed me, and I was like, "Okay." But at that moment, I was like, "Okay, if he has this credential, maybe I'm wrong." But I knew I wasn't wrong. But I did correct it because I felt bullied for a second. So yeah. So
If
thank you
you
for,
look at the construction of that dress, it's
yes,
different than a Norel dress. It's
yeah,
made differently
yes,
than a
and it's
Norel dress.
yeah, yeah. So I do appreciate you do coming in, because of course when someone with a title comes and is telling you you're wrong, for a
Yeah.
second I'm like, am I wrong? So I appreciate you having the first hand working with these people correcting me on that for that one time.
Yeah, no. Ray
Yeah,
Aguian was the designer of that
yes,
dress. And,
yes.
it might have been inspired by Norel
Mhm.
or parallel to Norel, but it was definitely Ray. Yeah, the
Right.
sequins are sewn on differently on Ray's dress than a Norel dress.
Yeah. So what was it like? So
Those Doris Day movies were such an inspiration to me as a kid. I
yes.
saw them, and matter of fact, whenever I would drive up the coast, I
Mhm.
always would stay in Carmel and stay in her hotel, always hoping to get a glimpse,
Oh, you did. How exciting.
but I
So
never.
you did eventually get that role, and I'm jumping ahead, but you did eventually
No.
get that role down with love.
Yes.
And so was when you read the script, in the script, was it described as this kind of Doris Day ode?
Well, it's an homage to the Doris Day Rock Hudson comedies.
Okay.
And I was very lucky in that I was working with one of the producers on another film, and she slipped the production designer and I the script very early. And it was like, this is a job I have to get. And
Yeah.
I designed the whole movie and
Mm.
brought in my sketches when I went to meet the director.
Yeah.
And they all looked at me like, oh, all right, fine. And then Renee Zellweger,
Mhm.
they sent it to her and she said, yes, let's go for it.
Yeah. Wow.
So she was so kind to me because I didn't have such great credits. And I think a lot of people wanted that movie.
Hmm.
Uh, and I was so lucky to get it.
Hmm. And you did such an amazing job in that film with and it also, with the way that the costumes were made and the set, even the set was just like a Doris Day film, but it was
Oh,
just a it was more, it was chic, it was updated, but it still was very much reminiscent of the Doris Day
oh
costume.
yeah. And yeah, it was so much fun because we wanted to have the absolute authenticity
Yeah,
of all the fakeness of a Doris Day Rock Hudson movie where they
yeah.
shot on the back lot. I remember talking to Ray about The Art of Love, and I said, oh, in Paris. He goes, we didn't shoot it in Paris. We shot it on the back lot at Universal. Uh,
Like,
so yeah, it's funny because when you look out the window of our apartment, you can see every landmark in New York. And, we match the color of his vest to the color of the wall. And the pink on the sofa is the pink of her suit. And we made all the clothes sort of in the old Hollywood. Matter of fact, uh, uh, a dressmaker who worked for Bob Mackie for years made a lot of Renee's clothes for me.
oh, very, very
And her
cool.
pink suit, the interesting thing about her pink suit is we the plaid is embroidered on the suit, so there's no seaming of the plaid. It's all embroidered after the pieces. It was all so there's no kind of matching the plaid.
Mhm.
So that it just goes all the way around and up and
Right.
down.
That's too
Just
cool. I
like
love
that
that
kind of,
pink suit. Yeah.
yeah. And it was
Hats.
just the most fun project ever because we made everything.
Yeah.
And one of the producers was like, you can't afford this to do this. We don't have the budget. And I'm like, we will make it work. And we did.
Do you feel like that's one of the more creative what's the word I'm trying to say? Do you feel like you had like the most creative freedom on that project?
Yes, we had a
Yeah,
lot of freedom. And, the movie wasn't a big success when it came out,
right.
but now people really love that movie. And I think it was last year or the year before, I
Yeah,
think it was last year, the New York Times did a whole article about
yes.
how people now love the movie and people finally understand it. Because the thing about it and is the Doris Day Rock Hudson movies,
Hmm.
he's the playboy who tricks her into falling in love with him.
Hmm.
This one turns it on its head. She tricks him.
Yes.
It
That's
turns out that she's tricked
right.
him, and the whole movie is about she tricking him, and it's sort of women's empowerment,
Right.
and it's great to see how much people love that movie.
Yes. Because it was, I think it was deemed like a cult classic now.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about being a part of that? Something that's going to kind of stay with us.
I'm very proud to be part of that movie. It
Yeah.
was a great opportunity. The whole there's like one segment where they come into the restaurant and one has a yellow coat and one has the houndstooth coat and they open it and they have the reverse. And it was like that was my idea.
Oh, I love that.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was just so much fun. That was so collaborative. The choreographer, the director.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
talking about the moment when they open up their
Yes.
tickets?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Just like the Doris Day moment that we were just talking about?
Uh-huh. I
Yeah.
saw the producer a couple of weeks ago, one of the producers, and he said, that's a meme now. I'm like, "Oh, all right, almost
Yeah.
know what a meme is."
No, it's been so, you're very right. It's been over the past year and a half or 2 years. It's been so fun watching that kind of circle the internet again and watching that film come up.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of, I think that's really how I got in, because I already did know your name and I knew your work, but that's how I kind of recognize all of your how much big work that you've actually done, like the Da Vinci Code and things like that. Like that's just phenomenal.
I've
So
never gotten to do a movie like that though
yeah,
since, which I
wow.
keep hoping I will.
I You will. I 100% believe that.
I
I
hope
mean,
so.
you have the repertoire of like it's I don't know, it's just it's phenomenal. Like I don't think I can I was just looking back, I'm like every single one of these people know. Like and like it's like just it's phenomenal. So I'm going to circle back because we did kind of get off
Okay.
track. But
Yeah.
so back to you met Bob Mackie and then
Hmm.
you kind of it opened the floodgates to kind of essentially your career.
Hmm.
And so what was it like starting to work with him? Did you feel like a fish out of water or did you feel like you belonged? Did you have a hard time gaining um, trust from other people? Or it seems like everyone you met just happened to trust you and you were just,
Uh, you know what? When I started, I had no experience in the movies
uh-huh.
with Bob. And Ray Aguian and a designer, Rhett Turner,
Mhm.
um, they really helped me so much with Bob. And I remember Rhett, who was a costume designer he did Sonny's clothes when Bob did Cher.
Oh, okay.
And he did a lot of TV shows and the most wonderful man in the world, Rhett Turner. Um, he would say to me, he said, "Oh, here, give this to Bob." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Just give it to him." And I'd give it to Bob, and Bob would go, "Oh my God, thank you. I didn't think about that." So he really helped me, and I learned quickly um, what 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 my duties were. And Bob and I are still good friends. Matter of fact, I was working in London last year, and he came to London, and we got together, which was fun.
Yeah.
Um,
It's wonderful that you guys have stayed in contact for so many years and are
oh
still working.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's something I've also noticed about you is that you make these long-term connections. You work with these same directors, you work with the same designers. And I really admire that about you because like, I hardly was in the industry. I don't toot my horn at all about it, but it is hard sometimes to form those long-term connections and relationships. So you Must be, and you just speaking to you, just obviously a very wonderful, kind, and caring and nurturing person when it comes to the other designers, actors, directors. So obviously, it's because yeah, part of it is the good work, but also it's the heart and kindness behind it. I'm sure that's. Do you feel like that's part of the job?
Well, you know what I love about working in film and
Yeah,
television? It's so collaborative. You
yeah,
can't do it by yourself. You have to work with the director, cinematographer, production designer, and the actors
hmm
and the script. So I love that. And it's so great because you go into a different world on every picture with a different director who's, some of them want just do the costumes, and some want to see every little thing. And I think I'm easy to work with in that I'll work with the way that the director and the actors like to work. I love working with actors. I was a set designer and I realized, oh, I really like actors because some people will, you'll meet somebody and they, I could be an actor. I'm like, oh, no, you couldn't. Acting is really hard. I could never be an actor. Um, so I don't like, even when I do movies, I like to talk to the actor. I don't present them with a sketch and say, this is your character. I want them to feel like a part of the process. I'll tell a little story about working on The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock,
yeah, yeah.
about a real woman. And she, in my first conversation with her, she said, I want exactly her clothes. And so we photographed Leanne's closet, and this is her nightgown, and this is the clothes she liked. And she liked bright colors and patterns. And we had a lot of that stuff in our first fitting because we didn't really do sketches. It was like, because it's a modern dress film, what
Right.
feels right. And we started putting on the bright colors and the patterns. It didn't work at all on Sandra. It looked vulgar.
Mm.
Uh, and we're like, okay. And what we did was we took all the color and all the pattern out of her clothes. She's wearing neutrals, navy blue, and almost no pattern, just some textures. Uh, and then it worked. And then the skirt could be a little too tight. And she didn't seem foolish. She seems, it just, it worked. And it
Yeah,
was immediate.
I love the
And that
wardrobe
first
you did
fitting,
for her. Yeah.
yeah, it was a really fun project.
So do you feel like no, yeah, that was yeah, the work that you did in that film was amazing. Do you feel like sometimes you start kind of your sketches, you have ideas in your mind, and then upon meeting the actor, then you go back and change things, or do you want to meet the actor first and then start?
I prefer meeting the actor first,
Yeah. hmm
and then sharing ideas. So I like to have a conversation and then I'll put together things that I think might be right.
hmm
Um, yeah,
Are there ever times, or I'm sure there have been, are there other times that you just the actor is just like just wants to stay out of it and you just go and do your own work? Does that make it harder for you sometimes?
I think it is. But, most good actors care about what they're wearing and
Mhm.
everything. I learned a lot early on in my career from Robert De Niro.
Yes. Yeah.
Working with him, he was very kind to me. Matter of fact, he recommended me to Jay Roach and Joel Schumacher, who then I did multiple projects with.
Right.
But the first movie I worked with him was called The Fan, and I
hmm
was the co-designer, but I was there for the filming. And every morning, his clothes were in his trailer, and I would go in to check on him. He said, "Are these the socks that we chose?" And I'm
hmm
like, "Yes." That's how detailed it was. And then working with him on um, the next movie I did with him, uh, which was oh my God, my mind.
But
The
like I said, you've done a lot of work,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. The next movie, and we had racks of clothes to try on, and we would try something on,
hmm
and it was like, oh, that's not right. And then I'd say, oh, well, then these. He said, no, no. And he would try everything on. He will try everything on to find the right costume. Uh, and yeah, everything was great. Yeah, and then we did Meet the Parents, which was really a fun project. That was when I met Jay Roach.
Hmm.
And I'm proud of that because we started on that movie and we wanted nothing to be so trendy current that we made characters. You know,
Hmm.
Long Island Wasp. He had never played like a Long Island Wasp before.
Hmm.
So I bought this jacket at this company called Purdy in Manhattan, and they sell very, very, very expensive rifles and
Hmm.
some hunting clothes. And for years, I would get these bound books from Purdy about buying rifles that cost $100,000. I think they figured out 10 years later I wasn't really going to buy one, and they stopped sending them. But it was a really fun project. And matter of fact, uh, we made that in 2000,
Okay.
and two, I guess now 3 years ago, GQ did a whole article on the timeless fall style of Meet the Parents. And it was great to talk to the writer because he was like, yeah, it doesn't look 20 years old, the
Hmm.
movie, because
Yeah.
they're just characters,
That's
you
something that
know?
I have noticed. I have noticed that, like, if you look up your work, a lot of it does pop up like there's new articles. And yeah, it is. It's because your work is timeless. And do you think that is your personal, how did you feel you developed your personal style when it comes to yourself and the way that you view art as costuming as
Mm.
a form of art? Do you think how often do you look back in old Hollywood and things like that?
Oh, I love old movies.
Yeah.
I watched them all as a kid, and I always am happy to watch Turner
Yeah.
Classic Movies or go to a screening.
Yes.
Uh, and see an old Alfred Hitchcock movie like we did actually Saturday night. I went with some friends and we saw an Alfred Hitchcock movie from 1944.
Which one did you see?
Uh, 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 oh my God, my mind. Uh, uh, Spellbound,
1944.
Spellbound with Gregory Peck and
Spellbound.
Ingrid
Yes.
Bergman.
Okay, yeah.
Uh,
How wonderful.
yeah, so I love, and I have friends and we talk about movies all the time, and
Hmm.
we talk about the style and yeah, no, it's here's the thing. I try and divorce my personal taste
Hmm.
from the character
Hmm.
because, it's like sometimes a character, it's like what they would wear is not what I would wear.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always start with the script
Hmm.
and reading the script and seeing the character and actually, I've done a lot of movies about real people.
Hmm. Yes.
Uh, and it's like making the actor not do an impersonation of that character, but inhabit the character. Um, so it's really an interesting project. I
Yeah.
try and read as much as I can about the real person and the period. It's fun to look at. You can't John Singer Sargent, the master painter,
Yeah.
he didn't want his subjects to wear current clothes. He said because it will be dated, and he wanted them to wear historic dress or and I find like if I'm doing at a movie like in the 50s, I like to look at the Time magazines because you see real people. The cover of Vogue is not what you see people on the street in,
Right. Yeah.
and it's fun to look at and it's aspirational, but that's
Hmm.
not what people wear. And
Right.
I think the same as when we were doing the Alamo, it's like looking at a historic portrait of someone is them dressed up for a portrait. It's not what they wore in real life. It's not what they wore every day.
Very interesting. I love that. Do you ever have a muse like this is might be a weird way to say. Do you ever have a muse like relationship when you do meet an actor or actress? So of course you've already followed the script, you meet them, but do you like meet an actor and just feel like okay, like I like just really excited to dress her in a certain way because you know that she'll look so or he'll look so good in this specific thing?
Mm.
Does that make
I,
sense?
yes, of course
Yeah,
it does.
yeah.
But I like working with actors that are actors and they're about the character and not their personal style.
Yeah,
Um, like Renee Zellweger is, the most lovely,
yeah,
talented, remarkable person I've ever worked with. Uh, and it was funny, we did Down with Love when we made all of these clothes. And then the
yeah,
next time I worked with her, she played a New Jersey housewife during the Depression that was wearing
yeah,
old, dirty, not
yeah.
dirty, but worn out clothes,
We
struggling
love
through the
people. We
Depression.
love people with range. We love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love real actors. That's about the character.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
And the fact that you can do something like so chic up, like pastel like, and then also do like, period pieces like Saving Mr. Banks and things like that, that is just a testament of how much you can do. Is there something that you and it seems like you probably don't. It seems like you just really are attached to scripts. But do you prefer one thing or another? Like, do you prefer period pieces, or do you like being challenged, or what? What?
yeah, I like being challenged. I like something
Yeah,
new. I like something I haven't done before. I love doing period
yeah,
films. I've not gotten to do a musical. I would love to do a musical because I grew up on musicals. I
yeah,
still. Um, so the best thing, it's always new. And I've been lucky in that I've worked on a lot of different kinds of movies.
mhm,
And a lot of designers get pigeonholed into one thing, just doing superhero movies or just doing, romantic comedies. And I think I'm pretty lucky in that I've gotten to do lots of different things. And I've worked with directors that like to do lots of different things. So that's great.
I think it's amazing to be like that's kind of the dream as a creative, be constantly challenged, right? Um,
Yeah,
do you ever feel intimidated, or like, are you past this stage, or maybe in the past, have you just got a script and just felt extremely intimidated by it? And have you ever questioned yourself, being like, can I do a good job at this?
always. And,
Yeah.
I did a small, well, it wasn't small, but an HBO movie called The Normal Heart about the
Okay.
beginning of the AIDS crisis. And
Mhm.
I was really scared about it because I didn't want the clothes to get in the way of the story.
Mm,
I didn't want it to look costumey because it's the 80s. And I worked really hard with the actors about making it all just seem very natural. And I
mhm.
appreciate movies like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I don't want the costumes to screw up the story. So I
Mhm.
was I was very nervous into going that because I didn't want it to ever look costumey. It's like when I did Cinderella Man with Ron Howard, he said the one thing is he said with the extras, I hate when they have a hat on and everybody in the 30s had a hat on and it doesn't look like they own that hat. It just looks like that was plopped on their head. So we were so careful with every extra about making sure they looked like they own the hat. And I mean, we'd spend the day correcting hats on all the extras running around. It's like, oh, don't put it on the back of your head, you idiot. Um,
It's amazing the because like the work that you do is it's not like it's easy, especially with all the extras, and when it comes to period pieces, there's so much to be done. And again, it's like you learned from De Niro, a lot of detail oriented work. Do you ever have days where you're just looking around and you just get aggravated because you just feel like this is not what I envisioned, this is not what I wanted, or do you have that those days?
No, because then you just make sure it works.
Okay.
I'll be on the set pushing people and up, no, you up front, you in the back. Da, da, da. These people would never be sitting together at a table, and the agents get annoyed with me.
Yeah.
Uh, why would these people be sitting in this restaurant having dinner together? It makes no sense.
Wonderful.
So
That's yeah. And I
I,
yeah,
lo I love the big days. The big days are the
yeah.
best days for me.
That's fun. So do you enjoy shooting like on location? Is that one of your favorite things to do or
I like I like being on the set. I like being on a location. I love going to a fun place
Mhm.
uh, to make a movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you know what? Right now, I want to work with people that I like, scripts
Mhm.
that I really would like to do, or sometimes just a location. It's like, oh, I'll go there. Yeah, that would be fun. I've never been there.
Oh, how
It's funny
fun.
because people will be going on vacation. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to go. I'll probably work there at one time.
That's too funny. I love that. Well, I love that. That's a very optimistic view of like life in general, and I really admire that. And yeah, that's really amazing. So early mentors, like you said, it was like it's obviously Bob Mackie, Ray Agian, and before you met those people, because again, you were more into set design, and you
Yeah.
said you weren't really into fashion. But how did you kind of find yourself falling in love with the fashion aspect of the industry?
Well, I love fashion.
Yeah.
But I found, my little forays into fashion, I didn't like the people. I
Okay.
didn't like the fashion press
Mhm.
at all. They have no, I mean, working with Bob Mackie is like they have no sense of humor.
Yeah.
Everything is like so serious, and fashion should be fun.
Yes. Agree.
Uh, and it's, so Bob used to make a joke. He's like, "Oh, Daniel moved to Los Angeles to get out of fashion and out of New York, and now here we are back in New York in fashion." Uh, and I
That's
started working with him on his line
mm,
until I left. And I love doing the shows, and I love doing the trunk shows around the country, and I love the customers. I
yeah.
didn't really like the buyers or the fashion press.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely agree with that in all aspects. Yeah. Do you over the years,
I
because of
love making people look old or dirty,
yeah.
or, it's like, oh, great, we get to do, poor people, in 1930s. It's like, yeah. So I enjoy that much more, making a character.
Yeah. Do you still do you do any fashion week, anything of those types?
I haven't done a fashiony movie in a while,
Yeah. Or
but
do you like
I
do
would be
attend
happy to.
fashion week and things like that?
I certainly look at all the fashion. I look at all the
Yeah.
runway, uh, all that stuff. Yeah, I'm totally interested in all of
Yeah.
that because you should be. I'm interested in lots of things.
Hmm.
So I see a lot of movies. I see a lot of theater. I read.
Right. So
So,
what old Hollywood films do you have inspired you the most, or what did you grow up watching and what
well,
stayed with you the most?
I love the Doris Day movies when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Before your time, but I saw them as a kid with
Right.
my parents. I loved even the fake ones, like the Ray Agian did this movie called The Art of Love. It's
Hmm.
not that great a movie, but
Hmm.
I thought it was. I bet I saw it 5 or 6 times,
Yeah.
and it's hard to find now. But it was great. So I love those. I went to see Westerns with my dad. I
Hmm.
went to see war pictures with my dad. We went to see Jaws together and so I love the movies. And it's funny, movies that really inspire me and I admire, when people say, "What's your favorite costume design movie?" I might say it's All the President's Men
Oh,
because
interesting.
nothing seems out of place.
Hmm.
Everybody seems like the character. It doesn't seem like they're wearing costumes at
Hmm.
all, and
Yeah.
they are. And it's funny. I was doing a project, and one of the writers, who was a political writer, came in to be a reporter, and I had pulled some clothes for him to wear, and he came in with a Tattersall shirt and a brown knit tie. And I had a Tattersall shirt and a brown knit tie. And we looked at each other. It's like Robert Redford in All the President's Men. He goes, "I always want to dress like that." And I'm like, "I always dress the cool reporter like Robert Redford in All the
Oh,
President's Men."
that is his stand. I love that. Like, are there, what about when it comes to old Hollywood designers?
Uh, I love them all. I loved Edith
Yeah.
Head. Bob Mackie was a sketch artist for Edith Head. And
Yes. Yeah.
he said he loved working for her because she would just say black cocktail dresses for Natalie Wood. And he said, and I'd spend 2 days just drawing black cocktail dresses.
So fun. Yeah.
Uh, so love her work. Irene Sharaff is one of my most favorite designers.
She's one of mine as well. Yeah.
Oh God.
King and
Or
I is obviously my favorite. I love a big period ball
Yeah.
gown.
Oh,
Yeah.
me too. You know what? One of my favorite of her movies is Hello, Dolly with
Oh,
Barbara
yeah.
Streisand in her
Yeah.
lavender dress. I think it's one of the most beautiful dresses ever.
Yeah.
Um, the costumes in Gone with the Wind were one of the first period movies that were done that really look like period clothes. You know,
Yeah.
you'll look at some movies that are supposed to be in the 20s and they were made in the 50s and they're really 50s clothes.
Yeah. I
Uh,
admire the research that went behind because Gone with the Wind spanned for over so many years,
yeah,
and that the designer had to Walter Plunkett had to
yeah,
do that much research and make sure it was accurate. How
yes.
is that important to you? Accuracy when it comes to time period pieces, or do you
It
like leaning into kind of making it a little different?
it depends.
Okay.
It depends on the script. You know, we
Mhm.
did The Alamo, which is maybe the hardest movie I ever worked on. Um, Matter of fact, we were shooting that when Down with Love and all the publicity was starting for that movie, and I had requests to be, and I couldn't do any of it because we were knee deep in mud. But we did so much research on that movie, and it was, the most daunting. We had 1,000 extras almost every day. And my assistant and I would tie all the ties every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Was it just you,
And
one assistant?
well, we
Or
had
you
a
got the team?
huge team,
Yeah.
but we sat, as they walked out of the dressing area, which were, it was daunting. Uh, and we did so much research, and we had some uh, Alamo technical advisors came in, and they were at the beginning were like, well, this, I had all my research, and like, this is 1832. The Alamo is 1836, and I would look at them and say, you have a jacket on from the 70s.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. That is
So we had to just justify everything. But once they saw, the uniforms that we had made, they were like, okay, all
wow.
right,
That's
we
that's
get it.
really wonderful that you did have experts on there. Um,
Yeah.
what else does your research process look like? Do you go back and watch old movies, interviews,
I
talk?
like to read about, if I'm doing a movie about a real person,
Yeah.
when we're doing Saving Mr. Banks, I read the book about her. I read several books about him,
Mhm.
because that gives you an insight uh, into their character. And then
Mhm.
when you talk to the actor about the character, you can talk about the character and what they were really like.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I don't think that I would look at old movies for research. I would look at real things for research. Or if it's a contemporary show, fashion, just looking at people on the street. I've taken so many pictures of people on the street.
Yeah.
Uh, and say, do you mind if I take your picture? I need a picture of a cool, teen girl. And you have such, and most of the time they're very happy to do it. I said, I'll cut your face off. So I'm not a perv.
Well, you have a very welcoming presence. I feel like they wouldn't have been intimidated.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I love how meticulous you are. When it comes to a project that came across your table, Jurassic World, what were
yeah.
your immediate thoughts when you were introduced to that project? What was that something that it very much intrigued you, or you're like, this is way too different?
No, it was different. That's what makes it
Yeah.
intriguing.
Right.
And we wanted, we looked at we looked at old movies for that movie because the director wanted them to look like two movie stars.
Mhm.
And we had a lot of controversy over the high heels.
Right.
But I had all these different options about how we could change, but she starts out as a high-powered executive
Mhm.
taking people through the office and
Mhm.
showing them the lab. And where does she change her shoes? When it was like, oh, she could have a bag and she could have shoes in it or everything. And Bryce and the director were like, let's just keep her in the shoes. And
Mhm.
she's, did it all in the shoes. Uh, so yeah, you know what, I sort of was inspired by the movie Mogambo for her clothes.
Yeah. With Grace.
Ava Gardner in Africa.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, the directive from the director.
Hmm.
When we started, she said, I want to see at Halloween people dressed like them
I love that.
for Halloween. And we
Yeah.
did. The first,
Yep. You made it
I
happen.
saw a bunch of people, especially couples
Yeah.
dressed. And it made me happy. It's funny because
Yeah.
I dressed Bryce in Apollo 13 when she was a young girl.
You did. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, she had posted a picture of her in this like little 60s dress I had made her.
Uh-huh.
Uh, that's
That's
just the,
that's
yeah,
so
so it
full
was
circle.
fun to work with her again.
Yeah. Well, that's a really amazing film. That's exciting that you got to be a part of that. What I love about how you approach Jurassic World is, you watch Mungambo, any cinephile, any old Hollywood lover, we don't think twice about the fashion in that film. We just think it's very beautiful and everything. So it's funny how it's so controversial as of today for a
Yeah,
woman looking proper with high
yeah,
heels in a film like that. So
yeah,
I think that's such a beautiful sentiment that you somehow create these big, controversial, cult-like moments when doing something like that. So I think that's really special and that's so rewarding as a costume designer, I'm sure.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're proud of that choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the old adage about Ginger Rogers did
Yeah.
everything Fred Astaire except backwards and in heels.
Yes. Exactly. I no, I love that and I think it's just
And it's a
see,
movie.
yeah, it seems like you have these things. You have these whenever you get an article written about you being like, what the hell was this? That means that you did something right.
Yeah,
So I
yeah, yeah,
absolutely love it.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
funny. I remember when I was working with Bob Mackie and we
Mhm.
had gone to a film with Ray, and we were talking about it. I said, "Ah, it just seemed fake." And Ray looked at me, said, "It's a movie. It's already fake."
Oh my goodness, that's hysterical. Let's see. So, I did read about how you and I did like you source a lot of vintage in outside of Los Angeles. That's correct, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And do you have like over the years after working on so many period films, do you have your like designated locations that you like to go and scourge through
There are
their
certain
thing?
people that it's amazing what you can find.
Yeah.
It is amazing what you can find. I remember doing a TV movie
Mhm.
when I first started out in like the early 90s. And we went to Santa Barbara, the Salvation Army, and they had 50s dresses hanging there
Wow, yeah.
that were $5.
Hmm. It's
But
yeah,
that's, with the internet and online, that kind of stuff is almost impossible to find.
yeah.
But I've certainly found things. It's amazing what you can find. I like to buy a lot of stuff and make a lot of stuff because then you don't have to worry about returning it or damages.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
That must like for Ford v Ferrari. Is that
yeah,
one of the bigger films that you did source a lot of vintage?
we had to make a lot of that
You made
stuff.
a lot of it.
We
Okay.
had to, because we had to make all the racing jackets, the racing shirts,
Hmm.
the racing uniforms. All that was made
Hmm.
um, because it had to match. There was a one of Shelby's team members lives in Los Angeles, and we went to see him, and he had one of the shirts, and he let us measure it all and make sure that we got the type right and the fabric right.
Okay.
And I said, "Don't you have any of the jackets?" And his wife was there. She said he was a young guy. All of his girlfriends got the jackets.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, that's hysterical.
So that was a big project because we had to make the racing boots
Yeah.
and we had to make the racing suits. And then of course they had to be period, but
Mhm.
whereas the racing suits back then were not fireproof. But then we had to make for the stunt drivers, we had to make sure they were fireproofed
Yeah.
just for safety and the helmets. And it was a big project. But I cannot tell you Christian Bale and Matt Damon are two of the nicest actors I've ever worked with.
That's wonderful.
It
Yeah.
saved me because it was so big that they were just excited to wear the clothes
Was
and
that
excited to be a part of it.
Oh yeah. It's
And then finding
wonderful.
the character for Matt Damon to play Shelby,
Uh-huh.
the director was like, we have to make sure that he really looks Texan. And we had some bigger things like a big belt buckle and a bigger hat.
Yeah.
And from the first fitting with Matt, it's like, no. And the director, first day of shooting, is like, he doesn't need any of that stuff.
Hmm.
He's gonna be great.
Wow. Wow. So, like, it sounds like, do you, and let me know if you agree with this.
Mhm.
Does the film that you're working on and the experience, does the people surrounding you fully make the experience enjoyable or memorable? The
Oh
people
yeah.
you're working with,
Oh
yeah. So
yeah.
there's the actors, the directors. So
Yeah.
almost like the project itself, like the script itself doesn't matter. It's who you're working with and how well you guys
Well, it can be any or all of it.
get. Hmm.
I want to work with friends,
Yeah.
people, directors that I love working with, uh,
Hmm.
John Lee Hancock, Jay Roach, Ron
Hmm.
Howard, uh, or actors that I really like, or a project that I really like. And you just hope that it all, you know, that the production designer you're going to get along and be collaborative with.
Hmm.
Sometimes you work on a movie and you don't have that much contact with the production designer because they're so busy and they're two steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
And you just hope it all turns out. But like Ford versus Ferrari, the production designer and I worked so closely about giving the big races three distinct looks, color wise, clothes wise. And the director was like, no, you don't have to bother with that, but we did. And it really helps the movie, I think.
Well, no, I mean that movie went on to be so acclaimed, and so it
Yeah.
had like the best year.
It was
Yeah.
a good story.
A wonderful story. Yeah. What was it like working with Katrina Balfe?
Lovely. Couldn't be
Yeah.
lovelier. It
Yeah.
turns out that a very good friend of mine is best friends with her in New York,
Oh, too fun.
and has known her for years. So it was really, when he found out that she was going to be in the movie, he was like, oh my God, you're going to love her. And yeah, it was great. It
Yeah.
was funny because the one comment the director kept saying, she looks too good, she looks too good. And we kept dressing her down. So she's wearing pants through the whole movie. We had a little yellow dress for her. Uh, and at the last minute on set, we changed her. The director was like, she just looks too good.
I'm a big Outlander fan,
Yeah,
and even they try to make her look old with all the gray hair, and it's true, she still does look too
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Let's
So,
see. So what do you feel? So you did talk about the Alamo. What do you feel
yeah.
was the most mentally exhausting film that you've worked on?
Uh, I don't know.
Hmm.
I kind of almost like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, Certainly Cinderella Man was very difficult as well. It
Hmm.
was just daunting, and when we started, we were going to do all of the boxing at the beginning of the movie, and we had dressed 800 extras,
Wow.
um, with 200 in just uh, simple clothes to be way in the back. And then Russell, rightly so, said, I can't box 5 days a week for
Mm,
3 months.
yeah.
I just can't. So it was boxing 2 days
Mhm.
or sometimes 3 days a week. And then, but we had these 800 extras. And then it was like, that's all our clothes.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh God, what can we? All right, these people didn't show up. We're taking their clothes. And like, no, they might come back. It's like, I don't care. We need them because we're doing a New York City street scene and I need more clothes for these extras. So it was quite daunting in that it was mentally challenging, because just trying to figure that out and going up into because we shot at this place called Maple Leaf Gardens, but right before they converted it to a mall. And we dressed people in the dressing rooms, and yeah, it was challenging. I
That's
love big days, though. I love big movies like that. I'll tell you my favorite day ever on a movie
Mhm.
was the first day we shot at Disneyland on Saving Mr. Banks.
I'm sure.
It was we started work at midnight.
Oh, wow.
So at 6 a.m., when the light was coming up,
Mhm.
we had the 800, 1,000 extras on set. The two actors came out, and and dawn happened because they wanted to shoot as much before the park opened, and
Yeah.
everybody was dressed. And a lot of crew members' families came in to be. extras, and Emma Thompson comes, and we had to make the walk around characters from the 60s.
Oh, wow.
I assume that we could borrow them, but they
Mhm.
don't exist. So we had to make them and then deal with the Disneyland people about making sure that they were accurate and they had to approve them. Uh, that was, but so we dressed everybody and
Mhm.
it was, and all of the crew members are like, oh my God, this is just like when I was a kid the first time I came to Disneyland.
Gosh.
And
Yeah.
Emma comes out and she like looks at everything and she just like bursts like screaming. It's like this is the best thing ever. And it was like so proud of our day and our team of putting all these people together. And it's so funny. We made so many funny we made I like to give every extra a character.
Yeah. I think that's
And
special.
that's really, it makes them interested in being in the
Mhm.
thing. And it's funny because there was like a little redheaded boy. I said, "Oh, you're Opie." And we made him dress like Opie. And there was somebody, yeah. So it was just the best day ever.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful day. You guys all got to watch the sunrise together, essentially, and
Yeah. Well, we were
that's so magical.
backstage
I'm surprised
dressing
the
it.
park was gonna open the next day too. Oh my
Oh, it
goodness.
opened. They don't close. They closed the day that President Kennedy died, and they
Mm.
closed during the pandemic. And those are the only times they've closed.
Oh my goodness.
And they
Yeah.
did us one favor. They didn't put the Christmas decorations up for two
Mm.
days.
Okay.
They postponed it for 2 days so we could shoot there. But you could see the real people coming in as we were shooting.
Is that something that I can see if I go and watch the movie again?
No, no, because no, we shot around them.
Okay.
But we shot down Main Street before the park opened, and
Okay.
then we moved to the carousel where they blocked off um, and then the next day we shot at the entrance.
Okay. Wow. Is that's was that one of your more favorite movies, and how was your experience with Tom Hanks?
Oh, great. Well, I had done Da Vinci Code and Angels and
Right.
Demons. Oh, I guess I did Angels and Demons after. I don't remember.
Mhm.
But yeah, and Emma Thompson.
Mhm.
Here's the thing that we made her the character, P.L. Travers. And it's interesting. I love to give actors little things that they can use that nobody else will see, because we had did the flashbacks to her as a little girl, and her father. She's wearing her father's ring, and it
Oh,
gave the
wow.
connection to the two different time periods. And I love to do that.
That's too cool. It's like a
And
little Easter egg for, the
yeah, and it was just for her to feel like connected to Colin Farrell, who played her father.
yeah.
Uh, and we the real character of P.L. Travers is a little different
Mhm.
because in the movie it's like sort of her coming to California, and she hadn't really been here. But in real life, she had lived in New Mexico for a while and wore Navajo bracelets. So what we did was we changed it. She has her big silver bracelets, but they are vintage Art Nouveau bracelets.
Very, very cool. And where did you find these pieces?
Those we were they were George Jensen,
Uh-huh.
the Danish company lent them from their museum, lent
Okay.
us the
Wow.
bracelets.
I love that. I love how you're so focused and very detail oriented. And again, pivoting back, is that something that you feel that um, stuck in your head from your experience with De Niro?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you know what? And the bracelets, and she has a big the bracelets she wore all the time, even with her nightgown. She said, "Oh no, it's my amulet. It's
I
my
love
protection." And then the handbag. I said, "Well, you don't have to carry the handbag." She said, "Oh no, it's my shield."
I love
So I
that.
love to give actors things that they
Yeah,
can use. Matter of fact, we did a scene where she comes back and she has this cape uh, on, and she has this cape on, and she did this thing where she sort of did this twirl, and I'm like, "Oh my God." She said, "I did that for you."
that's so fun. I love that it sounds like you have this really great
It
camaraderie with
makes you
all of the
feel,
actors.
it
Yeah,
makes me feel like my job is important. When we're doing Down with Love,
yeah.
Ewan McGregor, he has this one outfit and he gave him yellow socks.
Mhm.
And he did the scene and he put his feet up on the desk. He said, "Oh, because I love the yellow socks so much, I wanted to show
Oh,
them."
I love that. I'm so glad that people show you love on set and
Yeah.
make it known how important you are. Nowadays, I feel like back then, and correct me if you feel like if you disagree, I feel like the costume designers are so praised in the golden age. You know, the credits used to be at the beginning of the film,
Yes.
costumed by this
Yeah.
person. And do you feel like that has simmered down as of today, where the costume designer isn't as well highly praised when it comes to
I
films?
think with real filmmakers, they are.
Yeah.
I think with real filmmakers, they are.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think, my credits usually at the beginning
Hmm.
with them. Yeah, I feel appreciated.
Okay.
Um, just some movies it's like a little less appreciated because they're not, I don't know. I
Yeah.
try and do movies where the costumes can add something.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, all of your movies are very well
And it's
known.
always something new. I love something new, something I haven't done before.
I love that you're always, even to this day, you're always pushing yourself, and I think that's very, very admirable.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess is there other more looking back on your career, what are like some core memories that you kind of cherish and take on with you and just kind of keep you going?
Well, the people I've worked with,
Hmm.
there's touchstones of films that I got to do, people that I got to work with. I, sometimes you work on a film. We did this movie called The Founder with John Lee Hancock,
Hmm.
and Michael Keaton gives one of the most amazing performances in that movie, and it
Yeah.
was sort of overlooked. And the company, the Weinstein Company, sort of dropped the film. And I feel so bad for Michael Keaton because it's such a good performance,
Hmm.
layered and nuanced, and we worked really hard on it. And it was kind of a low budget film, but you know,
Okay.
and I feel bad for him more than anything because the film, I'm proud of that film. And
Yeah.
not just for the costumes, just for the script and the direction and the acting.
Hmm.
Um, so
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
that's something I'm gonna have to look into. I actually have not seen that film.
Oh, it's about the man who made McDonald's.
Oh, wow. How very cool.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story.
I'm definitely gonna have to look into it. What was the costuming like?
It was great because it starts in the late 40s and goes through 1970.
Hmm. Very
So it was really fun to make him this character, and he's sort of like a low-level uh, salesman. And
cool.
then he meets the McDonald brothers and sort of starts the franchise with them. And then we see him get, fancier. And then his suits get kind of slick 60s
Oh, how
suits. So
fun.
there's really a great arc, I think, for his character.
Yeah,
Uh,
how
and
fun. I'm gonna
yeah, it
have
was really fun to do. And the funny thing was, we had to do the McDonald's and we had to make the little hats that they used to wear, the little paper hats. And I
yeah.
was and I was like, oh God, how do we make those? Who can make those? And I was on eBay and I saw one on eBay
Oh my
for
goodness.
sale. And they had close-ups of it and they had the manufacturer on the label. So I called the manufacturer and they said, oh yeah, we could make those. And they made them for us for free. They made us 200 hats.
Gosh, that's some real detective work on your part. My
I
goodness.
know, but it was
No,
a
that is,
lucky.
but that's amazing. That's if you like had a dream project like that you in your mind, if you were in charge of the script, if you were in charge of the costuming, and what would it be? Was a specific decade? Like what's something that would just if you could do on your own? Like
I would like to do a musical.
yeah.
I love musicals. I
Hmm.
still love musicals. I grew up on musicals.
Hmm.
Stephen Sondheim for me is the genius of all time. And
Hmm.
I could work on a project about him or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it's different. I just want it to be different. I
Yeah.
like to do different things.
Hmm. I love that. Yeah, always challenging yourself. What were your few favorite musicals growing up?
wow. I have a
There's
lot of them. From Funny Face with Audrey Hepburn, which
hmm
talk about fashion, it's amazing.
yes. Yeah.
It's amazing.
hmm
Uh, wow, Singing in the Rain, The
hmm
Bandwagon. I love Hello Dolly. Some people don't like that movie, but it's the
I
most
love
lavish
Hillary.
musical. It
Yeah.
is so beautiful. Oh, and a movie that I love the design of,
Mhm.
The Boyfriend.
Mhm. I
I
don't
don't
think
know
I've
if you've seen it with
yeah.
Twiggy.
Oh, with Twiggy. Oh, what?
Yeah,
Is
and
it 60s?
probably 1970.
Okay. Interesting. I'll have to look.
Probably 1970. Oh my
Mhm.
God, it's wild. The costumes, and it's funny because it's like a 1920s musical. It's
Mhm.
written as sort of a pastiche of 1920s
Yeah.
musicals, but Ken Russell directed it and he made it about a British crappy theater putting on a production of The
Mhm.
Boyfriend. So it's the 30s putting on a production in the 20s, but then as they're doing the numbers, they're
Yeah.
a director has come to see it and they're imagining it as a big movie musical. So then it would turn into these big musical numbers and the costumes by Shirley Russell is one of the great costume designers of all time. And
Wow.
she designed it. I would recommend it so highly. The costumes are hilarious.
Oh my goodness. I love those. I love those moments. My favorite part in like golden age films is when the movie just stops and they have a fashion montage or a
Oh yeah.
fashion show going on.
With the
I
women.
love that. Yeah, that's always so fun. And usually it's more flamboyant and it's really
Yeah.
it doesn't sometimes it doesn't even pertain to the
No.
film. It's just like let's just pause and just have a moment of silence for fashion. I absolutely love those.
Yeah. The Women is one of the great costume designed films of all time.
Yes. Adrian, love,
Adrian.
yeah, absolutely
And he
love.
made like, the characters all, he made them also characters because,
Mhm.
the one character is dressed like one fashion designer would have dressed her. Uh, yeah, he gave them all these really fantastic characters.
Yeah, and that's how you operate as well, right? You
Yeah.
just make sure everyone has a character. Yeah. I love that. I love that. I guess closing out a little bit, you because you are known for forming these relationships and you working with the same people, do you have any specific advice when it comes to kind of going that way in your career with
Hmm.
forming relationships and keeping those strong connections?
Uh, Here's the thing. Tell young people
Mm-hmm.
when I started out, I like people and I realize people like people that say, okay, I'll do it. I can do that. I will do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also think that a good basic education is great for anybody to work in this business because it's so collaborative and you have to, you know what? Joel Schumacher, who also taught me a lot when I first started working with him, it's like there aren't any bad ideas. It's an idea,
Yeah.
and it might not work, but keep your mind open to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just say no, 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 no. Matter of fact, someone I worked with for years, and she used to do an impression of me saying, and she said, "What about this?" And you go, "No." Well, okay.
I love that advice. I like it's true. If you say yes, and I've also learned like, I guess even only just the past 5 years with what I was doing, people say yes if you just
Yeah,
ask sometimes. Yeah. And that's
yeah.
something that I learned like recently, because I guess it comes with confidence, right? And it comes with, do you feel like you were always confident and that helped you along the way? Or do you ever feel like you were constantly paying your dues or like,
I think you're
just,
always paying your
oh,
dues.
yeah, yeah.
I think you're always paying your dues, and especially when you're working with someone new, you have to prove yourself. They
Hmm.
haven't worked with you before. You know what? The best thing about this job, it's collaborative.
Yeah.
I love working with the production designer. I love working with the director. I love working with the writer. You
Hmm.
know, I love working with the actors. It's their character. I want them to feel comfortable.
Hmm.
I'm not one of those, it's like the costume, this is the costume, put it on and shut up.
Yeah.
No, tell me what's wrong, tell me what's right.
I love that. I love that. And I
Yeah.
think that's a very quotable thing to say that will go down in Daniel Orlandi history. So I
Oh, yeah, well.
really love that. I guess I would love to know what projects do you have coming up and what can we keep an eye out for
Oh, wow. Actually, I have three movies coming out this year.
this year, 2024?
Yeah.
My goodness,
Um,
let's hear all about it.
the first one is this Netflix film called Atlas with Jennifer Lopez.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
yeah, it's something I'd never done before. Wild. She, goes into space. The trailer is out.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. Uh, And then a movie that I did a while ago that's finally coming out that was a real wild ride called Borderlands with Kate Blanchett. And it's
Uh,
based on a video game where she plays this intergalactic thief. And the costumes are really wild. So it was something I'd never done before.
was it
Uh,
futuristic?
Futuristic, but sort of comic bookish
Okay.
and video game. And and that was funny because the in the video game, she's playing a character in the video game who looks like a kid. But,
Okay.
so how we made her have the spirit of that character, but not exactly the same costume. And we made it in Budapest. And,
Oh,
we just
fun.
made all these crazy, wild costumes
Mhm.
for all these different characters. Kevin Hart, Jamie Lee Curtis. Uh,
What a fun cast.
it was really fun. I mean, we had this guy come in who was
Yeah.
7'4"
Oh my
that
gosh.
we had to make costumes for.
Did you have fun with Kevin Hart?
Oh, he's the nicest guy.
Yeah.
I must say he's so generous and lovely. We did a few little alterations for him
Mhm.
for personal, and he was like, "Oh no, no, I have to pay. Who did them? I want to pay them." I'm like,
Oh,
"No, they're just in, they're happy to he's like, "No, no, 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 no. No, 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 no.
oh, well, that's
I
very,
pay."
very kind of him. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was wild because we were shooting in Budapest all during the pandemic, so
Oh,
everything was closed.
yeah.
So we
That's
went
like
to the
the
set
ultimate.
and went home.
I mean, if you were to ask, who would you like to be trapped during a pandemic with? Everyone that you just listed off. I'm like, that sounds like a blast,
It
actually.
was really fun. It was
Yeah.
a really wild ride, and I hope the movie turns out.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it,
Mhm.
and I'm hoping.
Is it
Um,
going to be a theater film or is it on
it's a
streaming?
theater film. It
Okay.
opens in August.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Wow.
trailer is out. I think the response to the way Kate Blanchett looks in the still that they released is good.
Mhm.
It's something she's never done before. She's got this wild red hair and a chainmail, and
Wow.
it's
That
it's
sounds, yeah, I'm gonna look into it after we get
I'll
off.
look into it.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
then I have another movie that we just finished, and it's already coming out at the end of the year. I did Venom, the
Okay.
third
Yes.
Venom movie. That was super fun.
Oh, wow. Look at you. You are booked and busy, and that's
Gotta work, gotta
great.
eat.
Yes, yes, we do. And I have to ask, just because the internet is currently going viral,
Uh,
how was your experience working with Jennifer Lopez?
it was good.
It
I was
was.
I was surprised. Yeah, she's what's the internet saying about her?
She has a new movie out and then also a documentary about making the movie.
Yes.
And I guess people are just pointing out her personality. I guess maybe they think her personality clashes a little bit with other
Hmm.
people. I think that's the critique that's there's kind of, well, you know how the internet is. It just spreads
Yeah.
like fire. Yeah.
It's funny. She's like so busy.
Yeah,
That,
she is.
we were only allowed to have two fittings with her.
Mhm.
I did the sketches. They said that she approved them, and she came in for her first fitting, and I had the sketches blown up, and she said, "Oh no, I've never seen them before."
Oh,
And I'm like, "Oh, they said you had." She said, "No." So she looked at them, she put the clothes on and was like, "Oh, cool. Oh, I thought, can the pants be a little higher? Oh, I like this. Oh, these shoes are a little tight. Can we have a size up?" And that was it.
yeah.
And
That's
so
really,
she was
yeah.
great. She knows what she wants. She knows what she looks good in. We had done our research about her, and about, and so it was a great experience working with her.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Love that you got the opportunity to work with her. That's really
yeah,
exciting.
it was fun.
Yeah. Is there anyone in particular that you were just starstruck to work with?
So many,
Yeah.
so
They're all
many.
big things. They're
Working
all
with Emma Thompson was so great. Uh,
yeah.
I I was so happy to work with Matt Damon because he's one of my most favorite actors.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, 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 I've been very lucky to work with actors that I've admired from afar, and then when
You
you get to meet
well,
them,
yeah, Daniel, you are a very humble person, and I really love that about you. And I genuinely think I know that you say you're easy to work with, but I also think that's what's gotten you so far. I really genuinely think that.
oh yeah, no, yeah, I like yeah. Don't you like working with people that
Yeah,
are positive and not
genuine. Yeah.
negative and not demanding? And I know where the bat I'll certainly fight for something that I think is right.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
Well, that's part of the job, and that's part of being a creative. If
yeah.
you have a direction that's in your mind, and yeah, so I love that. I genuinely appreciate you taking the time out of your day to
Oh, my
chat.
pleasure.
Yeah. And I'm glad because I did do my research, of course, and like I
Yes.
watched a lot of your interviews, and I
So,
wanted to, bring out I just wanted to know more about what you haven't talked about before, and I feel very fulfilled. I'm very glad that,
oh, good.
uh, yeah, and I'm glad that you got to talk about things that maybe that you haven't talked about publicly before too as well.
Cool.
Yeah, very
It's
cool.
nice.
Yeah, again, is there anything that I'm missing out that you would like to add before we check out?
Uh, hmm. Well, it's the people that I've worked with, my,
Hmm.
people that have worked with me on films for years and new people. Yeah, I love it. I'm always, they say, "Oh, what do you work?" I'm like, because it forces people to have lunch with me.
Yeah.
Uh,
I love that. I love that. Yeah, got it. Well, again, one more time, Daniel, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting me as well. That
oh
means
yeah, no, I enjoy looking at your Instagram page.
thank you so much. And get ready for a lot of posts about your films. I'm about to just kind
Oh,
of
cool.
a little more promotion for you and everything. And
Good.
I believe your name deserves to be spoken about all the time, all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really, that's
Yeah.
very
No,
humbling. Thank you so much.
I genuinely mean that. Yeah. Thank you so much, Daniel Orlandi, for coming and speaking with us. We appreciate you, and we hope to see you again soon.